welcome to the Speed Weekend here at Foxhall Stadium in Ipswich. This 382-metre circuit is one of the fastest in the UK, and every July is home to the two-day Speed Weekend. And of course, the feature race is the 75-lap National Hot Rod World Final. There's much more racing than just that, though. There are other championships to be won from other categories. Let's take a look at some of those right now. So that's just a flavour of some of the racing you can expect from Speed Weekend. However, the feature race is, of course, the CP Dynes Drainage Contractor 75-lap National Hot Rod Championship of the World. 32 drivers from England, from Scotland, from Ireland, and from right across Europe have made it onto the grid. But where are they going to sit when they're on the grid? Well, here's Graham Woodward to explain more.
Well, thanks, Dave. I'm with Brian Oliver, the NHRPA race director. Brian, we're all here. Tell us a little about the quick laps, or as they're known, hot laps.
Well, what it is, Graham, is that we take the top 33 point scorers who have qualified for this big race, and they've spent the whole of the last year qualifying for it from across several nations. We take them, we bring them here to Ipswich, and we divide them into groups. The groups are divided according to how many points they've scored throughout the year. The idea of this is it rewards the drivers that have been to every qualifying round, those that have put in the miles and the hard work to get on the grid. So within those groups, they then set lap times and qualify for grid positions within that group.
So the quickest within that group will start at the front of that particular part of the grid. Also, just worth noting that if a driver goes very quick and manages to get the quickest time, they get that gold and pole position.
Yeah, absolutely. We call it the wild card position. What happens is that if a driver puts in a time that is faster than anybody else during the day, then irrespective of what group he's qualified in, he will be on pole position. It's just a bit of an added incentive.
Green flag wave for Vinnie Holtmans, the German driver, a regular visitor to Speed Weekend. A little bit sideways onto the back straight. Now down to the last corner of the lap. Something in the 14s is what he's aiming for. Let's see. Over the line, a 14.5 for Vinnie Holt. The reigning National Hot Rod Champion of the world, Glenn Bell, is on track. Squirts the car sideways, getting warmth into the tyres. Can he make it back-to-back World Championship victories? It was wet last year, it's going to be dry in 2013. Off the turnstile bend, speed building, green flag is waved. He's got 3 laps now in which to try to get pole position. It's neat and tidy so far, up towards the end of lap 1. He's got to be inch perfect on these 3 laps with precious little warmth in the tyres. 1 lap done, it's a 14.4. straight away. That's the best time we've had so far. Gavin Murray currently quickest on a 14.49. But Glenn Bell has trounced that already. He's going very well indeed. Lap 2 at an end. A 14.3. It gets better and better for the reigning champion. He secured pole position provisionally, but can he go even faster? Last corner, up to the flag. What's it going to be for Glenn Bell? It's a 14.27. That is pole position. The BMW Z4 of Colin Smith on track. It's not exactly the most popular shape anymore, but Colin drives this car extremely hard. He puts the warmth into the tyres, he accelerates off the turnstile bend, and his 3 hot laps begin right now. He's got to try and get out of that time of Glenn Bell. He's in the second group. He locks up, going into the turnstile bend. That's going to push him wide. You can see how hard they're trying here. Up to the end of that one. A 14.9. It's okay, but it's not great. Certainly not compared to 1 or 2 of the other drivers. He's a little sideways onto the back straight, but Smith is trying really hard. The single car hot laps, not really his forte, he'll admit that, but a 14.36 is really good going. Colin Smith is getting well wound up in the BMW now. Half a lap remains. What can he do relative to the time of Glenn Bell? He comes up to the line. There's the checkered flag. He breaks the timing beam, and a 14.27 matches Glenn Bell's lap time. Fantastic effort by Colin Smith. Colin Smith, a great drive. Let's hear from him. He's now with Dave Richardson.
Qualifying lap times, well, so interesting today. And the BMW Z4 of Colin Smith, you know, you equalled the pole sitting time, but of course that doesn't mean you go alongside the pole sitter. Explain, please.
What's generally happened is obviously because we've matched his time, his second time, as far as I've been told, is obviously his second best time compared to ours, which then means we end up 9th on the grid, which is a bit soul destroying really. I think we should be pole outside and make it more interesting.
I've managed to catch up with 2010 world champion Chris Head. Chris, after the hot laps, were you a little bit disappointed with what you achieved?
Yeah, definitely. I think we could have done better. We've found a few problems with the car since, and hopefully we'll be on it tomorrow.
And it's fair to say those problems were regarding the gearbox?
Yeah, the gearbox had some issues. We also had some brake issues as well, so hopefully we've solved all of them.
And as for the race itself, obviously you're not in the worst possible position, but you've got Glenn alongside you. How do you feel that's going to go over the gruelling 75 laps in these conditions?
Yes, it's going to be a long race, especially in this heat. But like I say, I'd prefer to do it in this heat than in the rain that we had last year.
And obviously back in 2010 it went your way. You'll be hoping for similar tales this year?
Yeah, no, it'd be great to do it again. What will be, and we'll be going everything we can for it.
People still talk of a golden age of hot rod racing from the 1970s into the 1980s. It was when Barry Lee took on George Polly and they both took on Mick Duffy Collard. The 3 of them had some legendary battles, and all 3 of them seen here on track remain as popular as ever. And I caught up with 1980 world champion Mick Collard. Always a pleasure to see one of the legends of hot rod racing, Mick Duffy Collard, at Speed Weekend in 2013. Mick, looking back on 1980, the World Championship win, what are the memories of that day?
Fetch a tear to my eye watching the boys here today. But the atmosphere is still about, and that's what it's all about, atmosphere. Good racing, good close racing.
Going back to your time, there was always the discussion of, you know, the big 3. There was you, there was Barry Lee, there was George Polly. People still talk of it in a golden age. What was it that made it so special?
I think we could entertain most things, you know what I mean? You had Barry was a good guy. George was the old boy off the street, sort of getting a living. And me, the bad guy, right? The pig farmer, the bad guy, you know what I mean? And Les Eaton, God rest his soul, sort of promoted that. And we played to the crowd, and we could all trust one another when we're on the outside of one another, right? And that's what you've got to be able to do, you know what I mean?
National hot rod racing has certainly evolved from your time, and the cars now are far more modified, they're quicker, there's more money being spent on them, but it is still a fabulous type of motorsport, and it generates great racing, but also great car control for drivers.
Oh yes, yeah, their cars are absolutely the ultimate, right, for oval racing. They've not got that much quicker, right? I come out a few years back and got round here in just over 14 seconds. What would have been on about the third row of the grid. So I only had 175 brake horsepower and they got 225 brake horsepower. So, and I had a bit to pull, right?
Your own success ballast.
Better late than never, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is, number 19, Duffy. Moving on Duffy style, supposed to have been here an hour and a half ago.
Final question. Put the myth to bed once and for all. Where did the nickname Duffy come from?
I used to play rugby at school and I always used to give duff passes, and it stuck from there and it come right through my life, and everybody thought I was Duffy Collard, not Mick Collard, right? You know what I mean? But like, yeah, it was one of the things, and I suppose in the hot rod racing I was always duffing up people or whatever like that, so the name suited me.
Welcome back to the Speedworth Motorsport National Hot Rod Championship of the World and Speed Weekend, where conditions are very different to last year when Glenn Bell took the gold roof. He's now with Dave Richardson.
Glenn Bell, of course, no stranger to gold roofs, having been Stock Rod World Champion 3 times, but in a rain-affected race last year, you took the gold roof in the National Hot Rods. How did that feel, Glenn?
The time I didn't know how it felt. It was a long race and I was just concentrating that hard because it was so wet. And, you know, it never crossed the line. Didn't really realise what had happened until I pulled in. And they told me to pull into the victory lane. I was like, I've won this. And it was just, at the time, you know, it just to see everyone running out, that's whenever it really hit you. And it was just, and then it absolutely felt amazing. You know, it was one of the best feelings probably I've ever had in my life.
And how, being world champion, how does that affect you as a national hot rod racing driver? Has it changed your racing for the season? Have you viewed it differently? Have you behaved differently? Is it harder for you?
I wouldn't say that I've behaved any differently. People say that the gold roof gives you a bit more confidence. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. I can't honestly say. I would say this year I put more effort in because I feel like everyone's watching you. And you have to be on, you know, top of your game at all times. So I put a lot of effort in this year, put a lot of effort into the dry setup, and, you know, we can't say it's changed me, but, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just another driver out there like anyone else, and I'm going out there to put on a bit of a show and do my best.
Well, to be fair, when it's come to qualifying and the lap times, Glenn, all that work, all that effort, all that preparation and development you've put in has obviously paid because you're on pole position.
Yeah, it obviously has. You know, I still don't like hot laps. I still would rather do my 2 heats in a final. But it obviously has. You know, I went out Monday night at Tully Road Oval, messed about with the car for a few hours, changed things, put things back to where they should have been. Said to myself, this car feels pretty good. I didn't want to change any more because then if I start changing too much, my head starts to go. So I put her into the lorry, came out today and practiced, felt okay, average, came in, made a couple of more changes, turned into the first corner, said to myself, this car feels good. I could maybe pull something out of the bag, but I wasn't expecting pole.
Now, if I told you that this Foxhall Tigra stands you at about £30,000 or £35,000, you might expect that it has every optional extra on it known to man. The truth is rather different.
Well, it's a purpose-built race car, full space frame throughout. It never was a road car originally, it's just a purpose-built race machine.
In terms of the engine, it's got to be 2 litre. You can put an engine in that's not a Vauxhall, for example, though, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, the Vauxhall's the most popular. The red top, which we use, seems to be the most popular one. Although there is like 4 Jura techs coming in, people trying different things, but I'd say probably 3/4 of the grid, the majority of them use the red top Vauxhall, seems to be the strongest.
Now, you do rolling starts mainly, clutch starts some of the time. So what do we do about a gearbox? gearbox, how many gears?
Well, there's 3 gears in the gearbox. Obviously, you've got your first gear, and then you've got a choice of 2 gears, second and third, which you can vary the ratios for different tracks. Like maybe for tomorrow, like second gear when you're in traffic, which might be a slightly lower rev range, and then if you're getting clean air, put it into third and get it pulling more revs when you can, traffic allows you.
And racing tyres as well?
Yeah, full slicks, governed by Hoosier. Everyone has to use the same make tyre. We're allowed 4 new for the World Final today, this weekend, but usually each qualifying round is 1 per round that they use.
The other thing about a National Hot Rod that strikes you when you look at the car is how far back you sit. You're sort of in the middle of the car.
Yeah, I mean, we do it obviously for weight distribution. You want to be as far to the back as you can and try and get the balance of the car. There is a weight limit regarding front to rear weight, which you can't be over without a driver in. But obviously then when the driver's in, the further back you are, gets weight over the back wheels, gives it traction and gives it drive out the corner, which is why they try and sit as far back. And generally all the drivers sit in the same area. Then maybe a shorter driver uses longer pedals, bringing it forward. So yeah, but we as far back as you can is the main thing.
And the other thing that they all produce is absolutely brilliant racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's circuit racing, you can accept it's fairly good, but I think oval racing, very rare you have a boring race, it's usually 2x2 all the way through, bit of rubbing here and there, but it makes for, like you say, exciting race. It's never dull. I think that's it, I've never come off from a race with this and said, oh, that was a quiet race or a boring race, it's always full on, and you finished it when you finished it, you're ready to come out.
Managing Director of Speedworth Motorsports is Dean Wood, and this stadium, Foxhall, Dean, has gone through such a transformation. First and foremost, to see everyone so enjoying the atmosphere and enjoying the facilities that you've now created, it must make you feel really rather proud, I would think.
Very proud, Dave, to be honest with you, and I'm proud of the drivers. It's a full team, all my staff, everyone now is starting to click together. I think people thought I was hard at first, but they're realising now where I'm coming from, and it's to upmarket the sport.
To be fair, Dean, I think you are hard. You're quite hard, but you're very, very determined, and you have a dream, you have an ambition, you know what you want to do. And actually, for the first time, we really are seeing the difference that you're making in tangible terms, because what you've done here at Foxhall is incredible. I mean, the investment must be enormous. I mean, is this what you wanted?
We got a long way to go, Dave. We've not even started what we want to do to the stadium. I want to make it the ultimate. I told Motoring News 6 months ago, the NEC, I want to make this the Wembley of stock car racing.
And you're certainly on the way. We've got a huge new grandstand, lots and lots of executive boxes for sponsors and for guests to come and arrive and enjoy the racing in great comfort now. And I did hear a rumour, Dean, that grandstand is just the first of a couple.
Yeah, we got another one going in, and I've got a meeting with the council later on this month for a lot more stuff that I want to do, to have talks with them and meetings with them and work with all the authorities and try and keep the local people happy and work with everybody and keep everyone happy.
And the thing is, I guess, and we'll close this brief chat with, never before has our sport, the sport that we all love so much, been in safer hands here at Foxhall than with you at the helm, because of course, you want to make it, as you've said yourself, the Wembley of oval racing.
We got a long way to go, mate. We ain't even started. We're only touching it. I want to be 10% of NASCAR in the end. That's how I'd like this business to be.
Best of luck, Dean. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody.
This year, the National Hot Rod support races were even more important than ever before. No wonder they were lively races with lots of damage. The top 2 qualifiers would get themselves onto the back of the grid for the National Hot Rod Championship of the World, and that was why it was elbows out as everybody tried to force a way through to the front. Sadly, there was lots of damage, amongst those being caught up in it, Ian McReynolds and Tom Casey, and that caused a second dose of red flags to fly. When the race finally got underway, Adam Maxwell made good his escape. He built up a lead as there was some great battling going on behind him. Lee Pepper in the venerable Peugeot 206 made his way round the outside, but Gavin Tabor was hanging on to second place and making his car as wide as possible. He was under pressure from Chris Heck and Stuart McLeod as they squabbled over second place. At the end of the back straight, McLeod looked for a way through. There was contact as he was hit from behind, and mayhem broke out. If you found a gap, you were good to go. Cars were in every direction, and that turned the order upside down. It meant that Adam Maxwell led the way. Tabor hung on to second, with Tom Dilley chasing after him. At the checkered flag, it was all about Adam Maxwell. He won by 12.5 seconds to go to the back of the grid for the World Final. Gavin Tabor just hung on for second place.
The opportunity for someone to go through as a wild card has been won by this man, Adam Maxwell. Adam, you drove like a demon. Well done.
Cheers, yeah. I think Andy Murray had a wee bit of a problem off the start there and I was able to get away, so yeah, we're on the back of the world, so we'll just try and keep our own four wheels.
Well, you're not going to be having too much to drink now, are you?
I'll say I'll have a pint or two.
Gavin, well, that was a heck of a race out there with so much damage going on. You were involved in some of it. Luckily, you didn't get taken out.
We didn't get taken out. I think we definitely got a few handling problems with the car. We just had to hold it tight on the inside and just make them go the hard way. It was just about getting second. The team has worked tremendously hard this weekend. And yeah.
Well done. Go and enjoy the spoils of what you've done. So Gavin Tabor clearly very, very emotional at being on the grid for the World Championship this year.
Before a little speed weekend silliness, let's have a high-speed look at the paddock and the village. People will tell you that Speed Weekend is all about national hot rods, the precision of a fully blown racing car. Forget it. Wacky Races took centre stage over the weekend. It was new for 2013 and it continued a good old tradition of novelty events. It was quite simple. Any category represented was invited to build some sort of wheeled chariot. It had to be pushed by members of your team. There was lots of water around, there was lots of silliness, and it was a good, fun way to start the day.
Well, this is a really special moment in the National Hot Rod World Championship, and it's very much part of it, the build-up. The teams get to come out with their drivers. They get their moment in the sunshine. Very much part of this National Hot Rod Championship of the World.
Second row start for Jason Q. You must be pretty confident from here.
I think it's probably the best place on the grid to be. I haven't got the pressure to be on the front row, and yeah, I'm on the inside, so by lap one, hopefully we're in second.
But you've got to be on your toes, haven't you, away from the line? You do so little running up to this point. You get your 3 laps in that qualifying session. How hard is it to be motivated right from the word go and confident from the word go?
To be honest, the build-up's such a buzz. By the time it gets going, we just want to get into it in a way. I think we'll be fine.
And realistically, is a win on or a podium? What are you aiming for?
First to finish, second to podium, and if I win it, I'll be the happiest man in here.
Jason, good luck. John Christie, a walk around the pits, and lots of people say, put some money on him. He's an outsider for a win. What do you think?
Not for a win today, unfortunately, but if we can try and keep going, maybe a bit of an each way might have been a good enough idea, maybe, but that's all I can hope for. The car's not quick enough. I haven't got the speed out of it so far, so see how the race goes. So if I get the chance of it, I'll certainly take it, but I don't think we're on outright speed. I don't think we've got it today. So.
Well, that's it. There is no more that these drivers can do. The 75-lap CP Dynes National Hot Rod Championship of the World is about to start. Enjoy the National Hot Rod World Final.
The grid is formed. The drivers start their engines. A 75-lap journey is ahead of them. Glenn Bell is the man on pole position, going for back-to-back titles if he can, but he's got some very tough opposition. Chris Haird alongside him. It's been an emotional year for Chris, no argument about that, with the very sad loss of his father just a few months ago. Well, he put down a marker here by winning the Thunder 500, the unofficial test day, if you like, these days for the National Hot Rod World Final. We're about to go racing.
Good luck to every single one of you. You've all worked really hard.
Chris Haird right up alongside Glenn Bell as the green flag flies. We're racing and Haird goes to the outside line. Can he get the race lead? They're absolutely door to door. Glenn Bell on the inside just hangs on to it. There's drama, there's contact. Vinnie Holtmans has spun at the first turn. He's been hit. That brings out a yellow flag, but that car is going nowhere. Over the line go the race leaders. Haird on the outside of Bell. Still there's Holtman's car and another look parked in the road, and this I think is going to stop it completely.
You're going to go red flags, drivers. Red flags for a complete restart.
Paul Gerrard, the race director on the Receiver system, calls for a red flag, tells the drivers to slow right down. You can see more cars with damage parked around the side of the circuit. Gary Woolsey is another. His father Norman Woolsey, former world champion, but it does not look as though Gary is going to take part, and we've lost two more. Colin Gom, look, with the team hard at work trying to get that car back into the race, and Ian McGuigan, the Scotsman, I'm afraid with damage as well. Colin Gom has made it onto the grid. Ian McGuigan hasn't, nor has Woolsey, nor has Holtmans. It's a smaller grid then for the restart to the National Hot Rod Championship of the World. Well, Chris Haird, you saw what he did at the first time of asking. He lagged back just a little bit, powered round the last corner. Is he going to do the same again? No, Glenn Bell is wise to it. Look, he's on his toes a bit quicker this time, and so Bell leads as the race gets underway. Second time of asking. Haird slots in second place as they make their way onto the back straight. Jason Q is there in third place as they head down the back straight for the first time. And John Christie from grid 5 goes up on the inside line to take fourth place. The three leaders just edging away ever so slightly. It's Bell up front. He's had a great season on the back of winning the World Championship. He's the national champion, the Irish Open champion as well. He's won the Northern Irish points chart, and battles rage on lower down the field. Jack Blood, look, in the green and yellow car, busy trying to gain places. 75 laps in this heat is a real long race, and there's more drama. Two more cars have got themselves together at the end of the lap. That's going to be another yellow flag, I'm afraid. 27 is one of them that's got into grief. You can see rejoining now. That's Mikey Godfrey, and the other, 629, that's got damage is the Scotsman, John Sibbald. Once again, the yellow flags wave. We've got a restart. Glenn Bell, Chris Haird, Jason Q, John Christie. That's the top four. The pace quickens, the green flag flies. We're racing again at Foxhall Stadium, Ipswich, and already people are getting it wrong as they put down the power. Tyres still not really up to temperature, and offline, this track is very, very dusty. Glenn Bell leading the way. Now Chris Haird is trying to go with him. He's also mindful that Jason Q is closing up on him, and there's more strife at the end of the lap. Look, the next car that bounces off the road there, 192, is Tony Moss. He's up against the wall. Can he rejoin from there? The damage may be too great. Either way, he's got a lap down, which is disastrous for him. And he's not the only one, look, because that's Carl Waller-Barrett in the Tigre. He's got broken suspension. That's his race run. Maxwell on the back of Blood coming over the line, but up front it is still Glenn Bell trying desperately to fend off Chris Haird. The back markers loom ahead of them as well. Gavin Tabor is going to be lapped by Glenn Bell, who goes to the outside. Colin Smith is in the wall. He had a lock-up at that part of the track in the qualifying session in the hot laps, and now I'm afraid the BMW, after its stellar hot laps effort, is in the wall, out of the race. Life now is doubly difficult for Glenn Bell. He's looking at his mirrors all the time to see where Chris Haird is. He's also trying to peer out of the front and second-guess where the back markers are going to go to. Down towards the pit bend once again, nose to tail this time. Haird now really on his toes, goes to the outside line. Is this going to be the race lead for him? He's got to get on with this because they're both being caught, look, by Q and Christie. Haird right round the outside, he's gone through. 27 laps are done, and Chris Haird takes over the race lead. He always goes well around Ipswich. Is this going to be another World Championship? He won it in 2010. He's ahead of the man that won it in 2012. Jason Q has never taken the title. He's third. John Christie has never taken the title, but his dad, Ormond, did it 5 times. He's got big footsteps to follow in, but he's right on the tail of Q now. Somebody off at the end of the home straight. It's Billy Bonner. The Scotsman has gone into the tyres, and there's another great little battle raging on here. Look, Danny Fisk. Lots of people say he's a world champion in waiting, and he's heading a gaggle of cars in the Green Tigre down towards the end of the home straight. Gavin Murray trying to wriggle away through on the inside in 95. Going with him, Shane Murphy. The yellow car tucked up behind. They're working their way past the Dutchman, John van den Bosch. The leaders go through, and look at the way now that Head is getting away from Bell. The gap between the leaders is opening up. Part of this, I think, is Chris Head's pace, but I just wonder whether all is well with Glenn Bell's tyres now, because look at that on the outside line. There's a big, big slide. He's lost second to Q, and John Christie's not that far behind either. Danny Fisk having to stick out his elbows and defend as well, because right up with him now is David Casey in the white and red Tigre. Jason Q comes through. Glenn Bell on the back of him now. Is he going to be able to fight back? It just looks as though the pace and indeed the handling of Bell's car is going away. Casey up alongside Murray now, coming over the line. Murray just getting his nose in front at the end of the straight. Great battle this. John Christie in the meantime is trying to work his way through the traffic. Chris Head leads the way, and look now at the number of back markers he's got between himself and the opposition. He's got that cushion all the time. Bell in third place has got Christie right up behind him. Jason Q second is trying to edge away, but now John Christie looks for the inside line, diving into the turnstile bend, and again Bell goes wide. That was easy peasy for Christie up on the inside, but now he's got the traffic to contend with. He goes round the outside of Stuart Doak, heading onto the back straight, but while they're squabbling behind the race leader, so Chris Head is getting away. The 2010 world champion is making this look easy, but look at this now for second place. Q versus Christie, side by side on the outside line. John Christie. It's been an amazing effort even to get into the world final this year. He's gone second. There was one point of the season where he was out of racing with a broken collarbone, having been messing about on the infield of a track with Glenn Bell. That meant that he had to miss a load of races, and only in the last stages of the World Championship qualifying rounds did John Christie get himself onto the grid. And he was saying before the race started he doesn't feel he's got the car speed to go for a win. Well, he may be right, because now Chris Head is long gone. Up to second is John Christie. But he's starting now to get quicker and quicker, and there's somebody off. It's Jack Blood and Tabor, and that's Head having to go through, and there was contact. Chris Head, I think, has just glanced off Jack Blood's car. Now, how much damage has that done for the race leader? He's off the road on the back straight. That's Head, and he's come to a stop. John Christie loses the lead. Back on the inside of him has gone Jason Q. Amazing stuff. The steering wheel is thrown out of the car. Chris Head's dream of a second world title has come to nothing. He hit a spinning car, and it now means that Jason Q is the race leader. John Christie is right up behind him. Make that alongside him as they come over the line. Suddenly, the World Championship has a totally different look and a totally different feel to it. Two drivers who've never won it before go side by side down towards the turnstile bend once again. Jason Q just about leads, but John Christie sticks to him on the outside line. He's got his nose in front. He's almost got the middle of the car alongside. Can he take the race lead? Let's see. Yes, he's done it down the back straight. There's a tremendous cheer from the Irish fans as well. John Christie has done it. At the end of lap 68, we've got another new leader, the fourth different leader of the world final. John Christie leading then. In second place is Jason Q. They're still busy battling behind. Glenn Bell is third and having to stick out his elbows to hang on to that place. But now John Christie is driving away from Jason Q. What an amazing story this would turn out to be. From injury, from not qualifying to world champion, it's John Christie. He comes across the line to win from Jason Q. Glenn Bell takes third, but only just. An absolutely astounding result. A tremendous drive by John Christie. And a race full of drama and full of emotion. The fireworks shower the circuit. There'll be a big noise, no doubt, inside 962. A famous number wins the National Hot Rod World Championship once again. John's father, Ormond Christie, 5 times a world champion. And John has now done it for the first time. And a little jig as well to celebrate. Glenn Bell out of the car, embraces John Christie. He may be disappointed to have lost his coveted gold roof, but Glenn Bell, very sportingly, is one of the first to congratulate the new world champion. That is John Christie. What a race, what a drive from 5th on the grid. And now some donuts to celebrate. So much for the car not having the speed to win the World Championship. A very canny drive. I know the cards fell to an extent in favour of John Christie, but he kept out of trouble. He was quick enough to be there. He looked after the tyres for 75 laps in the blistering heat here in Ipswich. And John Christie takes perhaps his first of 5 World Championships. More celebratory donuts from John Christie as the emotion of the moment starts to sink in. Behind him, Jason Hughes second, his best ever finish in the World Final. Glenn Bell third, on the back of taking the gold roof a year ago. Danny Fisk fourth, Gavin Murray fifth, Shane Murphy rounds out the top 6, and now a proper Irish jig from John Christie. As I say, it could be the first of many world titles. He's got big footsteps in which to follow. But the 2013 National Hot Rod Champion of the World is an absolutely jubilant John Christie.
You are the world champion. How are you feeling right now?
It's absolutely brilliant. Can't believe it. I really didn't think I was going to win it. I can't believe we did that. I don't know what happened to Chris, but I don't really care at this point in time. I'm just really glad to have won it. So.
Enjoy your win.
Thank you.
And now we've managed to catch up with the winner of the CP9's National Hot Rod World Championship of 2013. Well, John, you must be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. I really didn't expect it, and a couple of months ago I didn't even really want to come here this weekend. I broke my shoulder a while back and I wasn't going to race, and a lot of work commitments, but to sort of get my finger out and finally sort of give it a go this last couple of months and get into the race, be off the pace yesterday. Be a bit slow on the lap times yesterday, and then come through and win it today is brilliant. I really wasn't expecting it. So.
How delighted, having come here with such a huge reputation a few years ago, you've got the chance to show exactly what you can do in front of this huge crowd, and now you've landed that and you've gone on and won it.
Yeah, I have had that for quite a while, and it is something that you try and not talk about, you try and not sort of tell people about, but it does get you a bit, you know at times from year to year you're doing it all the time, and constantly you've got this thing of you're going to do it, and I know that everybody else here wants to win it too. It's not as simple as that. You know, everybody's here giving it their best shot, and there's a lot of good guys, and to finally actually go ahead and do it is brilliant.
And of course, in the sport of national hot rod racing, you've now become the first second generation winner. I'm sure the old man will be delighted. Not here today though.
No, I don't think he is. I think he would have come out. He normally sort of flies over last minute if he takes a notion to come, but I have to say he's helped me with the car for the first time in about 10 years. First time ever since I raced a hot rod in the last 2 weeks. I can't really deny he probably has helped me win it, because the car came on really good in the second half of the race, and that was sort of down to him, so I really do have to thank him for that.
Excellent stuff. Well, fully deserved. Crowd gave you a great reaction. That's racing, our National Hot Rod 2013, John Christie.
As John Christie celebrates his moment, he becomes the first ever second generation winner of the National Hot Rod World Championship. He wins from Jason Q, then Northern Irishman Glenn Bell third, Danny Fisk, whose father has also won the championship in the past, he takes fourth. Englishman Gavin Murray ahead of Shane Murphy, the Scotsman Robert McDonald seventh ahead of Terry Hunt, Neil Stimson ninth, and Stuart Doak rounds out the top 10. Looking back at some of the dramas in the race, the first incident, Vinnie Holtman spins at the first corner. He was hit by Colin Gom, amongst others, and that was why the race had to be stopped. On the restart, more contact. Mikey Godfrey collecting a spinning John Sibbald. And as those two cars ran wide, Gavin Tabor lucky to squeeze through a gap. On the next restart, Sammy Shuddle ran wide going through the turnstile bend, and Glenn Bell was lucky to hang onto this big slide as he ran out onto the dirty and dusty part of the track. But the real talking point was this. Jack Blood and Gavin Tabor made contact. It was Blood who spun across the road. He clipped Tabor. But look at Chris Haird. He has to brake and go for a gap, and he didn't have quite the width. He glances off the side of Blood's car. Look at it here. There's contact, and that breaks the suspension on the race leader's car. It means that Chris Haird is effectively out on the spot, and although he limped as far as the end of the back straight, his World Championship dream at an end. The steering wheel, though, went a bit further.
Well, wandering through the 2-litre hot rod paddock, and who should I come up with? Of course, it is the current world champion, Franz Hubert. Now, Franz, you won the World Championship in Pretoria a year ago. How hard is it going to be for you to defend that title here in the UK this year?
It's going to be pretty hard. All the cars competitive around here. Something new for me, but I'm going to do my best.
Well, no one can ask more than that. You've had a year as world champion. How has that been? Has it changed your racing? Of course, you've worn the gold roof, so I guess that's meant you've had to start at the back.
Yeah, that was pretty hard. So I ended up second, third. Second was hard to win, but it was pretty good. It was still competitive. I enjoy it.
That's the most important thing. Your car, Franz, for this 2-litre hot rod world final is magnificent. Tell us about the car.
Sure. Speedworth fabrication do a pretty good job. More than I expected. I was just want to thank them. The car's beautiful, quick. I'm pretty happy.
Now, you've been here for a couple of weeks or so. Have you had the opportunity to go and test the car in anger?
Yes, I did one race meeting in Yarmouth. Started from the back again, passed one of two cars, it was all right, and I tested Aldershot.
Well, good luck for the World Championship defence, Franz.
Thank you very much.
From in pole position, Shane Murray was always the man most likely to score victory. As the cars made their way over the line, the green flags flew. It was a great start by Murray. Behind him, fellow front row starter Dale Atkins went backwards in the pack, and even as they hit the back straight for the first time, Murray had built up a good advantage. By the end of the opening lap, the gap was increasing over the opposition. It was one long line for second place, headed by the very experienced and successful Mark Paffey. All eyes were on the Englishman to see if he could catch the leader, but there was drama on the back straight. Cars stranded on the circuit, cars having gone across the speedway, and then more drama broke out as Colin Moss was turned into a spin and was collected hard by Damon Wellman. The leader made his way around a stranded car, but the race was suspended. On the restart, once again, from pole position, Murray did everything absolutely right. He got away cleanly, those behind didn't. Derek Martin in 920 being turned sideways, he was facing the opposition. Yellow flags, once again. Take three, Murray was away cleanly, and once again he started to build the gap. Once again there was contact behind. This time it was Chris Harvey who came off worse as he was turned around. He was collected by others, and his race came to an early end. Gary Wilson in 982 was wriggling his way up the order. He put a move on Paul Wright. That gave him another position. As up front, Murray was getting away. The gap was building all the time. His only real concern now was the traffic, as the battles behind continued aplenty. The next casualty in 75 being turned sideways was Chris Crane. Gary Wilson put himself on the outside of Paul Wright onto the back straight. Wright secured the place though. He was hunting for a place in the top three. All the while though, Murray was ticking off the laps. He was looking ever more secure in the lead of the race. It's coming out of the turnstile bend. Phil Beattie got it wrong. He bounced off other cars. Somehow he kept on going. Kenny Purdy was going a lap down in number 17, but at the checkered flag, it was a win for Shane Murray.
Shane Murray, you are world champion. How do you feel?
Oh, I don't quite believe it, to be honest. I've tried so hard and came so close tight before, but now we've finally done it. I'm over the moon.
Well, listen, enjoy the moment and many congratulations.
Thank you.
But remember, the Speed Weekend is not just about non-contact hot rod racing. There was plenty of drama from, for example, the 2-litre saloon stock cars. As expected, they got stuck in well and truly over their race weekend. The Betfred Trophy was won by Brandon Osborne, the Golden Helmet by Craig Rose. The 2-litre hot rods had their two qualifying heats for the world final. They then had the revenge race with a reverse grid. That put the world champion, Shane Murray, right to the very back. But it didn't stop him. As there was drama ahead on track, he worked his way through and he won the revenge race to back up his World Championship victory. The 1300cc saloon stock cars got well and truly stuck in, as you might expect. There was action all the way through their races. Drama, contact, spins, you name it, they certainly delivered. The Supreme Championship was up for grabs. Jason Askew, the man who took the checkered flag. Saloon stock cars of a bygone age were on track as well. Every speed weekend needs a bout of nostalgia, and the historic saloon stock cars certainly delivered. Cortinas, Triumph 2000s and Ford Anglias, for example, all did battle. But it wasn't just the cars that were from years past. One or two star names from seasons back did the winning, such as Gordon Cool and Nick Wickham, who came through to score victory in the Bob Stud Trophy. The all-action lightning rods filled the Foxhall Heath Stadium and, not surprisingly, delivered some cracking racing as a result. The European Championship up for grabs as the 2-litre Sierras and Sapphires ran side by side and nose to tail, 3, sometimes 4 wide for the duration of the race. Frankie Cunningham was the man who came out on top. No speed weekend would be complete without the national bangers either. For 2013, they ran in a team event purely on the Saturday. The Midnight Runners, one of the most feared teams in national banger racing, came out on top as Jason Jackson, Boxer Jack, won all 3 races, and Richard Coe came out on top of a crunching Destruction Derby. If you want to start racing when you're only 6 years old, then a Ninja Kart is for you. 2 all-action races provided by drivers aged between 6 and 11. Their lack of experience certainly belied the quality of racing. There was some fierce action, and Charlie Lobb and Callum Searle took the 2 race victories. The 1400cc stock rods also delivered plenty of action, non-contact racing, mostly. And after 2 heats, they moved into the British Championship, and that was a controversial race in itself. An early stoppage after Alan Thorndike rolled was restarted, some of the naughty drivers towards the back of the grid, and the discussions continued post-race with drivers being docked places for contact or for ignoring flags. And that meant that Gary Butler was the winner ahead of Jack Grandon, and on-the-road winner Stuart Smythe in 3rd. Les Eaton is the man forever linked with bringing stock car racing to the UK and for founding Speedworth. The Super Stocks, the category that's really evolved from the early days of the sport, ran for the Eaton family trophy. It was won by Chris Roots. And coming soon to a Speedworth circuit near you, the National Hot Rods are back in action at Foxhall on the 17th of August. A week later, they go to Northampton. And looking further ahead, the 12th of October, the Banger World Championship is at Ipswich.
This year's Speed Weekend will be regarded and remembered as one of the best ever. Lots of on-track incidents and drama, 2 new world champions and lots of champions in the other formulas of racing as well. For the National Hot Rod guys, well, unbelievably, in just a few weeks' time, they're qualifying for the 2014 World Championship. Starts all over again. No rest for some. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.